With so much software available in the short-term rental industry these days, it's increasingly difficult to keep up to date with what's on the market and to determine whether it's a maybe or a must-have for you and your business. So meet one provider each week in a short interview, learning what they do and what they offer. So if you have around 15 minutes to spare, it could prove to be a very good investment to stick around. So let's see who and what is out there, one by one, with me, Deborah Larby, also known as the Guest Inspector.
Hello everyone and welcome to Techsplained with the Guest Inspector. Airbnb recently reported that they have more than 850,000 listings that include electric vehicle or EV chargers among their amenities. And that number is growing to meet the demand shown by prospective guests. Between June and December last year, they counted more than 500,000 unique searches for EV chargers. Airbnb, Booking.com, and Expedia all have filters and listings offering EV charging. So maybe you should offer it too, get ahead of your competition. But how? Well, we're about to find out. Today's guest is Lino from OK to Charge. Hello, Lino. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Good morning.
Oh, yes. Good morning to you. And it's good afternoon from me.
That's right.
Well, we're going to dive straight into it. Lino, in one sentence, what does OK to Charge do?
We monetize the use of EV charging stations by allowing owners and or property managers to use these boxes as a new form of revenue and amenity for their guests.
Sounds amazing. So let's break it down. So as a property manager, I want to offer this amenity. What does it entail and what does the guest get from it?
Sure. Well, the guest gets the amenity that they actually are desiring and looking for. As you indicated in your opening, the Airbnb article is just one example, 850,000 listings that are EV friendly. What happens most often today is that a guest who or potential guest that has an EV vehicle that would like to bring it on vacation with them to actually use that vehicle while on vacation, they don't have anywhere to plug it in when they get there. And so we're seeing a tremendous lift in the search and demand side of EV friendly rentals that just do not exist today. For the ones that do exist today, they just basically, I call it a dumb box on a wall. There's no way to monetize it. There's no way to schedule it. There's no way to control who's using it if it's an exterior application. And of course, it's a cost to the individual property owner themselves. And so we've solved that through OK to Charge, where we've built software that lays on top of these boxes and creates a monetary system of revenue for the owner, a service for the guest that can be controlled, whether the system is on or off, scheduling time, making sure that people aren't using the box that are not authorized on the particular property, and then the marketing value for the property managers themselves. Lots of searches, as you've indicated, for the systems, and very few results, out there available in this industry. So we're out to change that.
So basically what you're saying is that the guest can come, stay at the property, plug their car in, the guest pays for the electricity, and the manager or owner can make revenue as well. Charge
exactly
more,
right.
and they pocket the difference.
That's exactly right. The incoming electricity to the box is a cost to the owner. And that cost is variable based on what time of the day that energy is being used. And we've seen fluctuations from 2 cents per kilowatt hour all the way up to 25, 30 cents per kilowatt hour in peak periods. And so that's a cost. And what we have done is said, look, let's either neutralize that cost to the owner or actually increase the value of that cost to the guest, and then cover those charges, split with the owner, split with the property manager, and cover the use while adding the amenity that the guests are actually looking for.
And how does it work then for the guest? I forgot to ask you this before. How does it work for the guest? The guest comes along, plugs in their car. How do they pay for it?
Sure. So that's a great question. There's two ways. So our technology is built into the property management platforms themselves. And so we know all of the guest information prior to arrival, name, dates of arrival, and the like. If the property manager wants to make the system available and free, they have that capability. If they want to make the system available during those guest dates, and have a charge, they actually decide how they want to charge. And conversely, if the owner of that property is doing an owner reservation for a period of time and wants to bring their vehicle, it can be automatically set to be free while the owner's there and making money when a guest is there. That's the first way. The second way is we use a series of QR scan codes. So let's say you want to set a box in front of instead of the vacation rental unit itself, you want to do one of these smart boxes with OK to charge at your property management office itself. You can actually use a QR code that we supply that generates a charging schedule and is paid directly through our app and then back into your particular company. So basically, you get a check for people driving and seeing your destination, your location, and your office as an EV-friendly opportunity.
Wow. So it's not just guests. You can make money from the general public, not just your guests.
That's exactly right. And the beauty is you decide what audience that you want to supply this amenity to.
Yeah, yeah. And so with this app, I think you mentioned that you can see all EV charging places, not just the one at the vacation rental. You can see others or not?
Yes. So we actually have a marketing component of our system as well, where we take all of the EV friendly units and offices or locations, if you will, and we publish those out to third-party sites like PlugShare and some of these others. The difference with our system and technology is with most, and I'll just use PlugShare as a general example. When you open that app, you can see a lot of different locations with EV chargers. But it doesn't tell you if they're occupied, doesn't tell you if they're working or not, doesn't tell you if they're damaged, doesn't tell you, the person that is plugged in and there, it doesn't tell them to leave when their charge is full. Our system actually controls all of that stuff and will tell you when your vehicle is full, automatically dispatches a message saying, your charge is now complete. Please come move your vehicle to allow someone else to actually use the station itself. Or it's becomes $5 a minute if that's what you want to set to. So we have sort of thought through that whole process of of the user amenity.
Yeah, I don't have an electric car, so this was all very interesting to me to know how it even works, plugging your car and go shopping while your car charges up, that sort of thing. But it all sounds really, really amazing, actually, even being notified when your car is charged, come back from your shopping.
That's right. That's right.
Amazing. That's really great. And so I was going to ask, what is your unique selling point? I guess that you're the only company doing this.
Well, we're the only ones that we know of in this sector that is delivering sort of an end-to-end solution. We're just not hanging boxes on stands and then leaving the property. We're actually putting the control of those boxes in your hands as an operator, and so you decide who, what, where, when, how much, all in settings. So we're creating a smart box management system. And the beauty of our software is it can lay on top of many makes and models of tier 1, 2, or 3 charging stations. So if you already have some of these boxes, Airbnb as an example, doesn't mean you can't, that you have to convert to a smart box. You don't. You can actually make them smart by adding our software.
Amazing. And so you said that you integrate with PMS. So you get all the guest information and the booking information, and then the managers and owners have a dashboard. You have a dashboard for them, and then they can set and do whatever they want on your dashboard.
That's absolutely correct. And our dashboard not only manages the systems themselves, but it communicates back all of the usage data. So you can actually measure against carbon offsets. We tell you the number of charges you've had, the kilowatt hours consumed, the cost and price, for the kilowatt hours consumed, the net carbon offset for, the use versus fossil fuel. And there are carbon offset credits are another monetary value that there has historically been no way to capture for the benefit of the property managers and or the owners of these properties. And so we tried to think about all of the possible areas in which this system could be beneficial to the end users.
And great marketing too, using that the carbon offset, etc., for your marketing. That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so do you white label? I mean, all the information that the guest sees, is it your brand or is it the property manager brand?
It's the property manager brand. We're actually helping the property managers to create this brand new segment. And we want to promote them as the ultimate, solution providers. We just have a little powered by okay to charge but this is the property manager's brand or an individual owner. We've got, we do a lot with owners who just market on Airbnb. They have a single unit. So we can be a single unit operator, or we can be a commercial operator in hotels, resorts, timeshare companies, property managers. Really, it's a universal application.
Incredible. So who's your target audience? Do you have a particular size company, or is just even one property is perfect?
Yeah, so you absolutely one to many. There really is no sweet spot, because we think, pardon me, we think that this particular segment is sort of a new horizon in revenue opportunities. It is certainly going to be a very fast growing. If you read the reports on all of the major manufacturers that are dedicating significant portions of their manufacturing capability to EV just in the next 3 to 5 years, you're talking, billions and billions of dollars being invested into the vehicles themselves. The infrastructure is not even close to ready. And when you start thinking about the hospitality and vacation segment, it's even further behind. So, we feel like we're in the right place at the right time to expedite the infrastructure side and give users the control they need to create this new amenity and readiness, quite frankly.
There is now some talk about sustainability in the industry. There's been for a while. There's Bob Garner in Italy. He's been a great advocate for it. And so this is really, it is part of the journey to becoming greener. So it's really, really good for the industry. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I had a good friend that's in the business. He's got a personal vacation rental unit in Myrtle Beach. And he's got a good business in the vacation rental industry himself. And I sent him a box and said, hey, look, this is, something, I'd like you to test out for us as part of our beta several months ago. And so he did. He only markets on Airbnb and he handles it personally himself. And there's about 4,000 or so units similar to his in that market. And the way he looked at it, he sent me a really nice text, shortly after he installed. And he said, look, I just went from 4,000 competitors in my market to 3. Oh. And he had a request from Airbnb as a $4,000 booking in January. That was the search that came through Airbnb was for an EV friendly. He said, I've never had a booking in January, much less a booking at a rate that is similar to high season. And so I think we're in the right place at the right time. And so the awareness that we bring to this opportunity, I think is very, very exciting.
It sure is. Absolutely. Now, also, where is your target audience? Where are you supplying these boxes?
Yeah, so we started the physical deployment about 4.5 months ago. We came out of beta, and we've been in beta testing and development for over a year. We came out of that about 4 months ago. We have started deploying throughout the US. We're working on our European network. We literally hired a CEO last week who is a major player in the tech space in the US in both short-term rentals and residential industry. We can't quite announce yet because he's working through his departure in his current role. But we're excited to have him on board to really expedite the growth of this business. But to your question, where there are really no boundaries. The beauty of the hardware side is that we're hardware agnostic, is what we say. So we don't really care what make or model manufacturer of the EV charging station that you use. Our software can lay on top and control most of them. Whether they be tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. And so the current infrastructure we can look at as a customer and opportunity. We do have a strategic partnership with a company called NLX, which is one of the largest manufacturers in the space today. And they are primarily outside of the US. They just entered the US recently. And so, to your question, everywhere that EV infrastructure is needed, we can play in that space.
Great. That's great. And how much does it cost to use your service then as a manager or owner?
Yeah, so there's the hardware side, and hardware, and I'll just use tier 2 as an example because I think tier 1, as you know, are really like residential, almost like trickle chargers. It may take you half a day to get a full charge on a tier 1 device. Tier 2 is what the really, I think, the sweet spot in the industry is for this particular use case. And then tier 3 would be these big, you see them a lot, the Tesla super stations, and they'll have 10 or 12 of those in a row. And you see people, at gas stations with their cars plugged in and sitting on the curb eating a sandwich and a soda while they're waiting to charge. We're out to change that as well. We want you on vacation with your families around the pool using your own, rental charging station right there at the property. And so just using the tier 2 as the example, the boxes themselves installed, you're $1,200 to $1,300 on average for most cases. Bigger properties that are on that are on coastal areas that are built maybe on stilts. We see a lot of those in the US along the East Coast. We've seen installations of $100, $150, plus the hardware. So that's the average, about 1,200, I'd say, on average. The upside is most areas in states and then even in counties and cities have tax benefit for the end user. So you might have a $1,200 cost, but you may get a $1,500 or $2,500 rebate on your taxes. So really the cost can be completely neutral as you add the amenity itself.
So it's just the one-off cost. There's no monthly subscription or something to use the software.
So there is a licensing fee that we charge, and it's based on, there's a couple of variables there, and it depends on how the property manager or end user is going to be delivering the service. In most cases, what we do is we provide the boxes at no cost. The owner covers the cost of installation, and then they add a flat dollar amount to their rent for their property on a per night basis, and then they pay us out of that fee, and that varies. We've got some companies charging as high as $25 to $30 per day of use, and we just take a $10 flat fee. Others are just charging a flat $10 fee and paying us and not taking a margin on that fee. But we've in our first 4 months of installations, there is no standard structure. It goes from property managers not wanting to charge anything to hey, I'm going to make some good money on the amenity, and so a little early to see what the best sweet spot is. but we're collecting data every single day, and we'll certainly be honing that in.
Well, it is actually a good thought to know that you can charge a little bit more in your nightly rate for the convenience of leave the car in the garage and plug in overnight, and there's no inconvenience of going shopping while your car's plugged in on the street. So yeah, it's worth a little extra in the nightly rate. Yep. Amazing.
Absolutely. And one of the other features that we have built in is that let's say your property is unoccupied, for a period of time. We have a setting that we built in that allows the box to be live. And if it's in an exterior, application, so it's not inside the garage, it's outside of the garage, which many of them are, that you can make the box live and publish it to anyone in the area, and so not only does your vacation rental become a charging station, just like these Teslas that we talked about, people in the market are being made aware that your unit is equipped. And so where are they going to rent next time when they come into town or the market? They're going to look at your property. And then, of course, the property manager on the same, at the same side gets the benefit of everyone in the market with an EV knowing that their brand is an EV friendly brand.
Oh, that's great. Really great. Now, also, this all sounds very complicated. So is there a contract that you've got to lock into once you've got the smart box? Is there a contract?
Very simple licensing agreement is all that it is. As long as you're using our software, fee structure's there. If you decide, to pull the plug, pun intended, on us, the box is yours and you can make it free and available to anyone that you'd like. So good short answer there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's all good. Okay. Was there anything more you'd like to add? I've come to the end of my questions. Was there anything more to entice the audience?
Well, we really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today, for sure. We are extremely excited about this particular segment. We feel like that this will be the new amenity. Years ago, pet friendly sort of became a thing, right? And there were new revenue opportunities, but there were also a lot of associated costs that were ongoing. So if you charged a $100 or $150 one-time pet fee, you were spending that in, stain removal, extra cleaning, and the like. So the margins were very, very small. This EV-friendly infrastructure is a new opportunity for margin and profit that does not carry an associated ongoing expense. And so we think it's here to stay. And we feel like this is a tremendously underserved segment today. And so I would just say, be an early adopter and get ahead of the game, get your brand out there as EV friendly, and you will not look back.
That's a great way to end this interview. So if you have any questions at all for Lino, just pop them in the comments below. I'll pop in a link for OK to Charge in the description below, and one for the guest inspector. And Lino, thank you very, very much. This has been really, really interesting. Very, very exciting to hear about this.
It's my pleasure. We appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and your audience today. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye now.